So in a moment I'm going to show you a modification to a flip-flop that will change the capability of that footwear for you, and I know you will appreciate it if you are a flip-flop wearer. But before I do that, I'd like to give you a little bit of a background on what I've learned and what I consider a better solution than the flip-flop modification I'm going to show you, even though you're going to do the flip-flop modification because it's so cool. So I've never been a big heel-to-toe walker like many people are these days, and the reason being is they wear cushioned footwear and they do that heel strike and then set their foot down. So I think the reason I've never been a big heel-toe walker, and I did wear boots for a very long time, is when I was a forester I was in the woods all the time and I was always stepping over and around brush, and I just set my foot down a little more naturally because of that. If you ever watch a young child or a baby walk barefoot, they walk more naturally, and more naturally being they set their whole foot down, or they set the front of their foot down first, or the outside front of their foot down, and it rolls over. If you ever watch any of those TV shows that cover primitive cultures and those people never wear shoes and they're barefoot, watch the way they walk. Again, it's more natural. It's not heel-toe, it's setting the whole foot down. And Huaraches, or these tire sandals that I'm wearing, do that for you. So I've been wearing actually sandals for a long time, and my feet have acclimated to the cold. I'm pretty good to 40 degrees just standing around, and if as long as I'm moving, depending on what I'm walking on, you know, freezing. If there's leaf litter and some insulation, you know, not so bad. If I'm walking on hard packed ground, dirt, or concrete, that really does zap the heat out of your feet. But at any rate, been wearing sandals forever, and then around a year ago I made my first pair of tire sandals, or Huaraches, and I haven't looked back. I actually kind of made them on a whim to have a piece of footwear that I could put in a backpack, have a spare piece of footwear, because these things are just so thin. There's really nothing to them. But once I started wearing them, they're just so comfortable. They do take a little bit of getting used to, but they will change the way you walk. In fact, it got down into the teens a couple weeks ago, and I put on a pair of sneakers and socks for the first time in forever, and I went on a long walk and my feet were killing me because those shoes have an arch. But when you use a pair of shoes like this, or you go barefoot, you know, you can see I really don't have any wear towards the heel. All the wear is towards the front of my foot and a little bit here on the toes. But that's the way I walk. I mean, I hit the front of my foot and my toes, and the problem is your heel doesn't get much use, so sometimes you end up with cracked heels doing it this way. But that's where I walk now. And I take these everywhere. I'll climb mountains in these things. In fact, past weekend was walking with some people, and we were off trail as usual and walking along the side of a mountain for a long way, you know, obviously walking at an angle, and they were complaining their feet were rolling in their shoes, and my feet just went right to the contour of the terrain. As you can see, they're just so flexible that I got good grip, and where's your foot going to roll in this? So these things are awesome. So love the Huaraches, the tire sandals. I think this is better than using a pair of flip-flops, but nonetheless this flip-flop modification is pretty slick, and I'm disappointed that I didn't think of it myself, because the way you tie it around the heel is somewhat similar to what you do with a Huarache. So in fact, I've only seen one person that had a pair of flip-flops with this modification. I'm sure there are others, but this person I have the utmost admiration for, and that's Steve Watts, and I promise you his flip-flops were much more fashionable than these. Nonetheless, the modification involves a flip-flop and a piece of cord. And the flip-flop needs to be side straps of fabric or leather. They do make some flip-flops that obviously have that hard plastic strap. You could probably rig something up, but the way to go is a pair of flip-flops like this with the fabric or leather on the side. And you need a hole punch would be better, or a leather punch, or you could do it with an awl or a knife if you get in a bind, but simply poking 2 holes at the back of the straps going along the side, and then thread it with a piece of cord. What you do after you do that is this becomes your heel strap, as I've pulled back here, and then let me wedge my wide foot into this flip-flop. This is your heel strap, and then very important, you take the laces on the side and you go underneath the heel strap, and the reason being is that helps hold the heel strap up. And now you simply tie like a shoe. Now you have a piece of footwear that won't come off easily, that you can walk a long distance in, that you could cross a creek or climb a mountain, and you don't have to worry about it coming off. I'm one of those people that when they walk in flip-flops, slap, 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 can't stand that. You don't do that anymore with these. My kids, they can go forever in flip-flops and run in them and stuff. I can't do that, and my foot fatigues. Not anymore with this modification. Now, I used a piece of 550 cord, which I tie my huaraches with. A flat lace on the flip-flop mod is going to be much better. So if you look on the huarache, there's nothing really to rub against my foot. You know, interlace the rope as I've gone to the front strap and the back strap. No hot spot there. When you do the flip-flop mod, you got the thick strap, and the cordage goes underneath it for a little bit, and I can feel it there. Maybe I'm just not used to it because I don't wear these that much, but I think a flat lace would be better, and you can make them much more fashionable. So a pair of leather flip-flops and a piece of buckskin or a leather flat lace for which to tie them on, you can make them look much better. Kids flip-flops, use colored cordage. You know, again, you could color coordinate. It's nothing to slip the cord in and out of these out of the straps. But now you have a capable piece of footwear. Maybe this is something you just, now your flip-flop is your spare pair of footwear because it just takes up very little space, and you've got cordage. Or if you're ever out and about and you get caught somewhere and you have to walk a long distance and you've got a pair of flip-flops on, now you know how to make a modification to walk a long way if you ever have to. Tire sandals, huaraches, I think they're a better solution, but nonetheless everybody has flip-flops, and pretty cool modification nonetheless. Hope this helps you, and take care, my friends.